it is officially the first Chiefs victory Monday of the 2025 season. So what else could we do but bring in our good friend, Fox Rules analyst, Dean Blandino's coming on the show. Now, Dean, the Chiefs are in the win column officially, but I don't know a lot of Chiefs fans that are necessarily puffing their chests out today. This is merely dipping the toe back in the whole winning idea. So we'll see where this goes from here, I guess.
Yeah, look, that was a battle of 0-2 teams, so somebody was going to go home unhappy, and it definitely wasn't the Chiefs. So it was nice for the Chiefs to get back. And it's good for the league when the Chiefs are good. Come on, we need the Chiefs back in the mix.
Dean, if you never heard the term Tush Push again in your life, would it be too soon?
Yes. I am, obviously, right, the Eagles-Chiefs game, and usually I can suppress my inner voice when I'm on the broadcast, but obviously I let my inner voice win and said I was fed up with the play. And look, I've never been a fan of this play. I think it's hard to officiate. I think it's unfair. I think the rules have always been prohibited aiding the runner up until 2006. And so if I never see another Tush Push again, it'll be too soon. But unfortunately, we've got the Eagles Bucks on Sunday, so I think I'm going to see a couple more.
You might for sure.
Hey, I thank you for joining the party, Dean Blandino. Honored to have you on the show again. I'm not going to ask you about the Tush Push anymore. I do want to ask you about Jawaan Taylor, though. And I know the spotlight was put on him. I know the spotlight was put on him by Chris Collinsworth. With that first game in 23 against the Lions, when national televised game, first game of the season coming out, and Collinsworth kind of started this momentum with Jawaan Taylor, with him not being lined up correctly, with him having those early starts. And I know the referees have had plenty of conversations with his position coach, with Andy Heck, I'm sure with Coach Reed, I'm sure with Nagy, with everybody who they could talk to tell them, hey, you're jumping early and you're not lined up properly. He continues for some reason to just try and cheat when everybody sees this. How many times can a referee or somebody warn the Chiefs about Jawaan Taylor before now everybody's saying he's getting picked on now, as opposed to him just doing the right thing? How many of those conversations had to go on to get to this point?
They're ongoing conversations, and it's not just Jawaan Taylor. I mean, these conversations are happening with every club. And when you think about those, especially those offensive tackles on passing downs, they're going to try to gain that advantage. And because, they're going into pass protection. So if I can get as deep as possible and still be legal, I'm going to be okay. And the officials are always, they're scouting the teams that they're going to work. They're looking at whether it's the Chiefs or the Eagles or the Giants, whoever. And, early in the game, if a player is pushing the envelope, then they'll get a warning. The coach will get that warning. And then if they don't correct it, then the flags are supposed to fly. And obviously this is a player that, like you said, the spotlight's been on him. He's been one of the higher penalized players in the league. And look, when it comes down to formations and those types of things, those are things that players can control, and they've got to be on top of that stuff. And I know Coach Reed and Coach Nagy, they're on them, and they're practicing it and making sure they're coaching the players up the right way. And sometimes they just get a little carried away during the game.
Absolutely. And I know week one, we had the Eagles, Cowboys, Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott, gets ejected before the game even starts. But then Tier Tart open hand slaps Travis Kelce across the face in Brazil, gets a penalty, but that's not an ejection. Why is spitting an ejection and the open hand slap to Kelce not an ejection?
Great question. I think, look, there are in the rule book, whether it's a personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct, if the officials deem it to be flagrant, then they can eject the player. And in my experience, things that are kind of the automatics, spitting on an opponent would be one, throwing a punch, a closed fist punch, landing, any kind of fighting, any kind of kicking or stomping, and any unnecessary intentional contact with a game official. Those have been the automatic ejections. And then you get into the discretionary ones, and it's the open hand that if it's not flagrant, you see that a lot, pushing and shoving. Maybe in part of that pushing and shoving, the open hand gets up to the face. You certainly don't want to eject for that. But if it is flagrant, and in my opinion, that was flagrant to me, I certainly would have supported an ejection. But I think where the league is right now, they want to stay away from the open hand ejection and stick to a closed fist punch, that type of thing. But it's certainly, I thought it was flagrant, when I saw it.
Dean, we like to have fun here, and we met you at the Super Bowl in Phoenix a couple years ago, Chiefs and Eagles the first time, and I remember a guy in front of us as we were waiting to ask you something, asked a 5-minute long question about the Hawkeye camera and the technology, and it just got me thinking about you because you're such a personable and fun guy, just going out in New York City, you're a man about town, you're Dean Blandino, everybody knows you, but when you're hanging out with friends, and does anybody ever approach you or try to strike up a conversation about anything that's not NFL rules related? I mean, is there a point where your brain just completely snaps and you're I can't talk about this stuff anymore, at all?
Yeah, there are times. Look, I'm blessed, right? We're all blessed to be able to do something within this game. And so I'm always when people come up, and I do get recognized from time to time, and they want to obviously talk about football, and that's great. There are times though, if I get on a plane and I sit down and I feel like the person next to me is looks like an especially chatty person, I might put the headphones on right away and kind of nip it in the bud. But it's always fun to talk about football with people and get those questions and they get, well, who should I start in my fantasy football league? And I'm like, you should see, I'm 0-3, so don't ask me. I believe me. You want to ask about officiating and rules? That's fine. Don't ask me about fantasy football.
You want to talk about comedy? We know you were a stand-up comedian.
Back in the day, yes.
Yeah. So Nate Bargatze was just in Kansas City. Are you going to come do a show for us here in Kansas City as
Let's
well?
go.
He's great.
Yeah.
I love Nate. I love
So
listening and watching his stand-up. He's one of my favorites. I retired a long time ago. My stand-up career. I'll do an impromptu every once in a while. When my stand-up really helped, when I was dealing with angry coaches, and Andy's pretty good. Andy doesn't get too upset about the officials, but there were some other coaches that could let you have it. And if you can sprinkle in a little bit of humor, it sometimes helps kind of ease the tension in some of those phone calls.
Did you ever get Bill Belichick to crack a smile?
No. Bill's a tough one. I love Bill.
Bill is right.
He is though behind. You see this persona of Bill when he's up on the podium after a game, and that's what he presents, and that's intentional. But when you get away from that, Bill is very personable, very sarcastic. He's not. I never seen him with a belly laugh or anything like that, but he does kind of let his hair down a little bit away from the media, and so he actually was one of my favorite coaches to talk to.
That's awesome.
One of the main concerns I remember coming into this season, Dean, was the taking away the chains. Look, man, I'm an NFL films guy. And I love the fact that the chains that the NFL still uses up until last year. And my thing was the NFL has a leg up on the other sports like baseball and basketball in terms of its drama. It's must-see TV every single game, every single week. You can't miss a game. And so a part of that drama was bringing the refs bringing out for just a close measurement with the chains. That's kind of been taken away. Was there any thought with the NFL of, okay, we don't want to take away from the drama of the game with the dramatization of the first downs and all of that, and now we have the automatic review with the where the chip is in the ball, and now you can see where. And did the NFL ever think about taking that drama off of the TV, or they were just like, nah, forget it, we'll just go with the digitized version of the chains?
Well, I could not agree with you more. I miss the chain crew. I miss those old guys running out. I miss the drama of it. I mean, that is, and like you said, that is part of, we've all been on pins and needles at one time or another watching our favorite team and that big third down or fourth down, and now that measurement. and we're waiting, right? Is it going to be a first down? Is it going to be a turnover on downs? And I feel like we've lost that with this virtual measurement. Now look, you have to balance that with technology continues to evolve, and you want to streamline the process and you want to make it more efficient. So I get that part of it. But, I miss that drama. I think the league certainly took that into consideration, but it's that advancement of technology that I think at the end of the day kind of won out. But, I think we lose something without the chains. I miss it.
Well, I miss it too, Dean, because with the Sony Hawkeye technology, I thought maybe like you would show like the replay of the player being tackled and he's like transparent somehow and you see the ball and where it lands. Instead, you get this like Canva image up there and I don't know if that's actually where the ball is, or if it's short, we just put up this Canva image we pre-made and it's always that far away. Just why haven't we not seen more of that? Did they go away from showing that because it doesn't look the best?
I don't love it, and I think for a lot of people that when this first became a thing, and I think people were, and understandably, I think they were confused as to, wait, does this actually spot the football or what does it do? And the officials still spot the football and they put it down like they always do. And basically this just replaces the chain crew. So once the ball's on the ground, now there's cameras. There's 6 Hawkeye cameras that are on the near sideline, and they're positioned around the field, and they measure. They go back to the first down play, and they look at the position of the ball, and they measure exactly 10 yards from that point, and then they give you, it's 6 inches short, or it made the first down by 4 inches. And so I think there was a little bit of some confusion as to what it actually was. And like you said, it is like you kind of lose the sense of the field. You go to this like image and it looks like, kind of a video game image. And again, I just think it's going to take some time getting used to, and if it can speed up the process, great. And we'll see how it goes.
Dean, I want to talk about the dynamic kickoff rule, because I think that it's finally right now at a point where I really like it. The kicker's having to kick into the safe zone to avoid a touchback or to avoid a penalty that would put the ball at the 40-yard line. So what's the early data kind of on this coming up for you guys as far as where we're at here through 3 weeks? I mean, I think that we have it finally at a point, aside from no onside kick drama, which kind of plays into what Brian was talking about, that this is the kickoff version that I think most people are probably comfortable with.
Yeah, I think the data is all good. The league looked at it last year. They put it in for 1 year because they wanted to see, okay, what was the data going to show? They were going to look at the drive start. They would look at how it impacted scoring, were there going to be more penalties on this play? What was the return percentage going to be? Because the previous year, right, 2023 was the lowest in history, 22% of kicks. And so it became a non-play. And then most importantly, what was the injury data going to show us? Because the old kickoff, right, the percentage of injuries or the potential for injuries was higher on the kick return than it was on other plays in the game. And the data was all overwhelmingly positive. So the injuries were down, the drive start was further upfield, there was more scoring, more returns. And so they made the one tweak this year where if you kick it through the end zone, it goes to the 35. And now we went from like 33% returned last year. We're up over 77% this year. Yep. So this play is back in the game, and we're seeing explosive returns and we're seeing excitement. And I think the only downside, like you said, is the onside kick, right? We don't have the surprise onside kick. And so the onside kick has become a much more difficult play to execute successfully. And so we're seeing that success percentage really low right now, 4%, 5%. And that can be problematic because then, you're down a couple of scores late in the game. You really don't have a chance to come back.
Where's been your favorite stadium so far?
My favorite. Well, Arrowhead's my favorite. It's probably a tie for it's Kansas City and Green Bay are probably my two favorites because you still have that. It's that kind of the tradition, the history, that feel. Some of the newer stadiums, while they're amazing in terms of the amenities and things, there is kind of this sterile kind of environment to it where I love the older stadiums. I love walking into Lambeau Field and Arrowhead and some of those stadiums. And the fans are incredible. Seattle up, those fans are amazing. One of the loudest places to play for an opponent. So those are some of my favorite places to watch a game.
Had a chance to be at the Eagles versus Chiefs game, and I noticed that there were 2 sky cams that Fox uses. And I know that's advantageous for the refs and how many views that you get to have. But then I noticed I'm on Amazon Prime and I punch down and there's another option for you to view the game like Madden style instead of broadcast style. And I know I may be getting ahead of my skis here, Dean, but is Fox going to interpret that type of technology that Amazon Prime has into their broadcast where we're able to watch another view, like the Madden view instead of the broadcast view?
Yeah, I think Fox looks at all those things. I think the Amazon Prime, I love that. I love that alternate broadcast where you can watch that. One of my good friends, Sam Schwartzstein, he worked with me in the XFL and was really the architect of the dynamic kickoff. And he's a big part of that. So what Amazon is doing is great. I think with Fox and more of the traditional networks, I think we look at presenting the game, the main broadcast, and you're going to hear Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt and everybody, but to enhance that broadcast with some of the technology and keep it all within that one broadcast. So I think that's where we're kind of at right now. But when you have big games, like whether it's an NFC championship game, like Fox has every year, or the Super Bowl like we had last year, I think that's where we see some of the innovations with some of the other cameras or maybe some other technology things that you don't normally see. But what Prime is doing on those broadcasts is pretty cool, because some people don't, you don't want to watch the traditional broadcast. You might want to watch it like video game style or some of the other ways that they're presenting it.
I have one more follow-up, Noah, if I could, please.
Yeah, please.
Just when you, I know I came into the conversation initially when you were talking about the Tush Push and you were talking about your intrusive thoughts. Did you get any type of phone calls or anything from Godell's office or from Park Avenue, or did you get any phone cals or anything after that? I'm curious. You don't have to answer that.
That's a good question. No, we have a weekly call with the officiating team in the league office, and they meet with all the rules analysts on a Zoom call on Wednesdays. And it's great because we can ask questions, they can give us feedback. And so one of the feedback that the league had just on that play was if we could show it not just in slow motion, but show it at full speed, because that's what the officials are looking at, right? They don't have slow motion, the ability to look at it. So which is a fair point, because the game isn't officiated in slow motion. So I think the league understands that we have a job to do, and we have to give our opinion, and certainly we need to be mindful of just how we present that opinion and not being disrespectful or putting the officials in a bad light. And so we have those ongoing conversations with the league, and I saw, Roger Goodell, he came up in the booth before the game in Kansas City, and it was good to see him and get caught up. And he hasn't sent me any angry text messages, so I think I'm good.
Well,
that's
Dean,
good to hear,
we so
Dean.
much appreciate. Yeah, man, thank you.
And as far as you were talking about onside kicks earlier, I was wondering, do you think that's going to go away? Do we stay with that, or could it be like one play for 15 yards? And then how do you officiate that? If there's an illegal contact, is it an automatic conversion of the onside kick and they get the ball?
I think that's one of the issues with
the
league going to that play. I think there's some concern around the league about that, right? If you go to a 4th and 15 or 4th and 20 or whatever it is, if you do get kind of a ticky-tack foul, now that's an automatic first down. And I think there is a balance where the team that is ahead earn the right to be ahead, and you don't want to give the team that's behind a play that is going to be 50%, right? It's typically you want that onside kick anywhere from 10 to 15%, somewhere in that range is a healthy number. But if you go to a 4th and 15 and now we start converting at a much higher rate, that's kind of a negative as well. So I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. But if the number continues to drop on onside kicks, I think the league has to think about it, because if you don't have a viable option to come back, I mean, why are people going to stick around in the stadium or stick around on TV if they know their team isn't going to come back? So I think it's one that the league is going to have to continue to monitor.
Well, Dean, we can't thank you enough for your time here. As we say goodbye, we got to hit you with our Fantastic Four. 4 quick rapid fire questions. You give us what comes to mind. We'll have some fun with it here. Mine is, I'm just going to start. I got to throw this out. I got this on my mind. It's in my heart, and I have to get in here, guys. Where were you when you learned that Travis and Taylor were engaged?
Oh my gosh, where was I? I think I was just home looking at film, like just looking at film. But you know, I love the fact that we've kind of, no pun intended, married these two worlds. I mean, you have probably one of the most famous and biggest stars in the entire world, and Travis Kelce, who's been a great player in the NFL and a surefire Hall of Famer, and all. It's incredible. It's such a cool story, and I've been blessed to meet, you know, both of them, and they're both awesome. So I don't remember exactly where I was, but I remember that my phone blew up, and I was getting text messages left and right. Yeah.
Well, Dean, I see you have a Sporting Kansas City hat there.
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to notice that. Yeah,
absolutely. Have we turned you over? Are you a Chiefs fan now? We Royals? We got it all.
You know, well, here's I'll be totally honest. But when I was at the game, we were there for the weekend. I had some friends in town for the Chiefs Eagles. Big Chiefs fans. Met them for lunch on Saturday. It was hot that weekend, right? It was like 95 degrees, and we were walking around, and the sun. And I was like, you know what? Let's go in this store. And my buddy wanted to get some Chiefs gear. And I was like, I need a hat if we're going to walk around. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to, the Chiefs might be too overt. And I was like, you know what? This KC Sport, this is pretty nice. So I'm going to wear this.
We'll get you some Chiefs gear, Dean. Don't worry.
Okay.
Leda, go ahead.
How do you like working with Tom?
He's amazing. He really is. He's such a professional. Obviously, look, we all know what he did on the football field, right? And what he accomplished. And you see it every week where this was something new for him. You know, he was, you know, yeah, he's the GOAT when it comes to being a quarterback in the NFL. But broadcasting was new. And you see the work ethic, and you see how much he cares and what he puts into it. And he's also just like super down to earth. You just sit there and you can talk football. You can talk. We both have kids around the same age, boys, you know, 14, 15 years old. So we just talk about that and some of the challenges, and he's awesome. And it's been so cool to learn from him and listen to him, and especially in our production meetings before the game, and he'll break down the two teams. It's been awesome.
It's great.
Who is on your Mount Rushmore of referee biceps? We know Ed Hockley's on there.
He's definitely on there. Yeah.
Who else is on there?
Oh man, referee biceps. There was a referee that he was a referee in the Big 12. Now he's the coordinator of officials for Conference USA and the Mountain West, Mike DeFee. If you go back and maybe Google Mike DeFee on the field, Mike had some serious guns. He was no joke. You know, Mike, I give him a hard time. Be like, you doing some curls right before kickoff? Like, what's going on? But it has, look, the officials, it's changed. When I first started in 1995, I was an intern at the NFL and just started in the officiating department. And I went to my first officiating clinic, and the physical fitness test that they had to complete to pass to be an official was walk a mile. And it wasn't even timed. It was just don't die. And now it's so much different. And these guys and girls, and they are in such great shape, and they are, and the uniforms though have gotten smaller. Right? There's more schmediums out there. So
and better.
Yeah, exactly.
Medium.
Oh, Dean, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend coming up here. Bucks and Eagles will be watching, of course. It's a great broadcast you guys have, America's Game of the Week, and always appreciate it, my friend. Always appreciate your insight and your friendship, man. We thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Always.
Talk to you guys soon.
Always an honor, Dean. Thank you.
So fun. Dean is great. He really is. But you know what, guys? We've got some topics to get into today. Do we?
We were coming.
Brian, I want to start with you though. Last week you said that beating the Giants would probably feel a little unsatisfying. So after this 22-9 win, are you still feeling that way?
Oh, I'm a little more hungry. I was, you know what, it was the second half that I was satisfied with. I'm unsatisfied because it wasn't a full game. So we can go with it right there. But look, I'm just happy we got off the schneid. Okay, we have no reason to be complaining today, Chiefs Kingdom, none. Other than Jawaan Taylor starting at right tackle, but I'm pretty sure we'll get to that in a second. But look, man, I'm excited about the future of this team. I see people being down on the Chiefs, and I don't understand why. After that performance yesterday in the second half, you look Tyquan Thornton in this receiving room. It could potentially be one of the better receiving rooms in the National Football League with him performing the way he is. Hollywood Brown, you got Juju still doing his thing, and then you know Worthy and Rice coming back. I have a firm belief that is going to set this offense on fire, and it's going to solve a lot of the problems that we're seeing. It's going to solve the problems of teams playing cover all the time and trying to play us on the run. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it'll make defenses adjust so much that it'll free up a lot of space for the Chiefs to do a lot of other things.
There was a lot of hyperbole, right? A lot of tweets at halftime. This is the worst game I've ever seen. This is just an absolute slog to watch. I mean, that was all a prevailing thought. And I think that, had the Chiefs not gotten that long pass interference before halftime to set up a field goal, that we really would have been kind of down in the dumps about it. But, two desperate teams, the Giants, Brian, that was our first ever win in New York against the Giants ever.
Couldn't believe it. And we've had very few at New York against the Jets too. So yeah. I just remember in 2002 we went up there and beat them, I think.
Yeah, and we did in 2002, and then just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, other than that, the wins have been slim. I mean, we lost a playoff game at the Meadowlands in 86 against the Jets. So the Meadowlands have not been kind to the Chiefs at all. I was shocked by that, actually, because I think they said that in 2017, the last time when the Chiefs went up to play the Giants, and I was in shock then. But it's that's a tough place to play, especially if you're not familiar with it. A la Harrison Bucker and the swirling New York winds, it can be tricky if you're not used to it.
And the swirling Brazil wins and the swirling Kansas City wins.
When are we going to have this conversation about Harrison Bucker? Because I'm ready. When are we going to have this conversation?
It's coming, Brian.
Okay, all right.
But we're gonna go to Noah. For the second time this season, we saw an Andy Reid, Travis Kelce dust up on the sidelines as the offensive struggles continued. Do you think, Noah, this is a problem, or is it the kind of fire that can actually help turn things around?
Well, like Clinton Bryan said, it was a slog in that first half. The team's coming out sleepwalking. I like this. I think for other teams, maybe it's not a good sign, but when it's a leader and you've got Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, the NFL doesn't provide smelling salts for teams anymore. They don't like that, using that after a concussion. Travis Kelce is our smelling salt. You get him riled up, you get Andy Reid giving him a bump, that wakes the team up. They come out in the second half and show a pulse that they didn't have in the first half. So I think it's a good thing for Kansas City. I want to see more of it.
Great. Clint?
Like they said on Martin, if you can't get along, let's get it on.
And this is the two games out of 3. And this is kind of, we saw it in the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 58 in the midst of some struggles. And it seems like that it takes precipitating events sometimes to get this team rolling. And Chase Daniel, our guy Chase Daniel, go Mizzou, said this is the event we'll look back on that turned this season around. Maybe that's a little hyperbolic, maybe a little over the top. But, hey, I'm willing to go for it. And I agree, Noah, that I think it's a good thing.
It's a whole lot of nothing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Have you everybody's in here has been in an ultra competitive work environment. It doesn't have to be sports. It could be sales. It could be whatever. We've all been in a super ultra competitive environment. But this is a totally different level. We haven't seen or been around anything what these people are in with the National Football League. We're talking about the highest competitors at the biggest sport in the world. To me, I know soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but we know what the National Football League does. But no, seriously, you're around a bunch of alpha males. You're around a bunch of alpha males trying to compete for a Super Bowl, and these things are expected to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I'm the one that needs more therapy. I don't know. But those type of things don't bother me. I do have a little concern that the same message coming from the same player could be getting old and people not receiving that message.
Mm.
Because this is already the second time this year we've seen Kelsey do it. Who knows? Maybe I think this type of thing happens more than we know. The cameras just caught that one. The cameras just caught the other one too. I mean, the Chiefs are on national TV almost every single week, so they're going to catch some things. But my point is, we said things about Tom Brady and him, going off on his receivers almost every single week, and we saw that a lot. We saw Bill Belichick break how many iPads on the sideline because he's mad and he's disturbed about something. I think we see these things often, and I just think that people who are not used to an ultra competitive environment, they're the ones that's having problems with that.
I think we need to get one of those lip reading, those funny memes that you see with the lip reading. That'd be so funny.
That would be good. That'd be a good one for that.
Oh, God, Clint. Okay, Clint. Tyquan Thornton stepped up with 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. How important is he to this struggling offense right now?
He's very important because all this time you've needed somebody to take the reins, someone to come out and be a focal point. And you know what? I was a big fan of Tyquan Thornton coming out of Baylor. The 6'2" frame. He can stretch the field. He's kind of playing the Xavier Worthy role right now while Xavier's on the bench until next week. And Tyquan injected this offense with a lethal dose of do-somethingism that it has not had up until now. So he had 5 catches for 71 yards. I think he barely had that all of last season. I'm so intrigued by what could be if this group, Brian, you've alluded to it, like it's just going to happen. Until I see all these guys, they're all ghosts and mythical creatures to me, like Roman gods that have never been in the same room at the same time. Until it happens, I still have to be skeptical that we're ever going to see the true receivers and all these pieces at play at the same time. But I love the thought of it, and I do love Tyquan.
Man, it's been a minute, man. Rashee, I had to think about this. Rashee Rice hasn't played. It'll be a year coming up this weekend. It was week 4 last year that he had that season-ending injury, and it's like we didn't even get a chance to see the 2024 Chiefs,
exactly,
let alone the 2025 Chiefs. So it's like people are raining down on the Chiefs right now, and I don't think people are thinking realistically or going through all the details as to why this team has struggled the past year with offense. And you take away the top 2 receivers from any offense and they're going to struggle. You take away Joe Burrow from the Bengals and you saw that dumpster fire that we saw this past weekend. So it's like I don't think people are really they're so quick to try and douse the fire that the Chiefs have, that they don't think logically or realistically about what the Chiefs are about to. We're about to get 2 prime free agents, and somebody put in, going after the cheetah and Tyreek Hill. Look, man, I would love to have Tyreek Hill, but there's literally no room for him. There's like between those 4 receivers who we named earlier with Tyquan Thornton, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, where do we have time to get to get Tyreek Hill the ball in any capacity? If you're trading for anything, I think there's 3 positions you need to look at. 1, defensive end or edge. We need some major pass rush help. 2, running back, because what I love Isaiah Pacheco. I do. I love his story and I love his background. But for him to go the wrong side of the field and to have Patrick Mahomes throw it back, what are you doing? It was like 2 or 3 plays Pacheco was doing that on. And the other position, maybe right guard. Did you see Trey Smith or Creed Humphrey this past week? That was an abomination in that first half of them. They got together in the second half, but if you look at Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, they did not have a good first half. So I think wide receiver is definitely off the table for us trying to look at anything. If you're going to trade for anything, get a running back.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just talking about the receivers, I mean, people have been like, hey, I can't wait till we haven't seen Hollywood and Xavier and Rashee together. I haven't seen a ton out of Hollywood. I don't know what we can expect from him moving forward. I'm more excited about the trio of Tyquan, Xavier, and Rashee. Right. I don't know if we did trade for Tyreek Hill. I think he obviously takes Hollywood snaps. I haven't seen a ton out of him. I know he had a decent game week 1, but he's kind of gone quiet. That's kind of been his career. So I don't know what we do moving forward with Hollywood, if he can be a guy that we count on and is a big part of this offense or not.
And I look at a situation like that, knowing I'm like, well, is he not getting open? Are the plays not getting called for him? Is Patrick not looking at his way? Is on his play calls the offensive line not doing their job? So it's like that's I don't get it with Hollywood Brown a lot of times because he can be productive whenever he gets the ball in his hand. It's just that's the thing. Get the ball in his hands.
Yeah, before we go to the next topic, I got a comment here. Bullets Forever Washington fandom on Instagram says Aaron Jones at the trade deadline or maybe Jawan Jennings. I don't think like Brian said, I don't really think we need a receiver. We've got other bigger issues at running back. If we're replacing Trey Smith, and I've got a lot of questions for Brett Veach, especially with George Karlaftis. Maybe that we can talk about that next week. I don't know if we got time in today's show. We'll talk about Brett Veach and what's going on there because there's a lot of rumblings online about Brett Veach and some negativity. And Brian brought up some things that are puzzling. It's still early in the season, but I think we'll get into that next week. But here's for the next topic.
All right, we're going to take it back to Brian. 8 penalties in this game for 85 yards. Several
Let's go.
Continued Giants drive. And let's face it, this was not the best outing for the offensive line. Why does everything feel just kind of disjointed right now with this team?
I am sick of 74 now. It's official. I was the one that was giving him passes. Milena, I was the one that was trying to be like, okay, y'all, when he actually doesn't commit a penalty as far as being offsides and line up right, he's a pretty decent tackle. He's okay. There was a play where Jawaan Taylor and Justice Simmons or Josh Simmons too on the left side, he got pulverized. He got ran over into Patrick Mahomes' lap. And that was when I can't do this anymore. One thing to have drive stopping penalties, Jawaan Taylor, but it's another thing for you to put the injury Patrick Mahomes at the injury risk with your negligence, with your lack of foot, with your lack of hand movement. There were so many flagrant things about Jawaan Taylor, let alone the penalties, stopping drives, taking points off the board because the Chiefs have momentum and they be driving. But then all of a sudden, there's an illegal formation on 74. There's a holding penalty now on 74. I've had it. I saw Jalen Moore, the swing right tackle who the Chiefs have right now in their holster, waiting on 74 to mess up so we could put 77 in. I saw him play against the Eagles it was only one drive, but he looked good enough to put in there in case Jawaan Taylor keeps doing what he's doing. Look, Matt Nagy called him out last week. He keeps doing it. He keeps making the same mistakes. Are the Chiefs going to make a move at right tackle? I think it's of the utmost importance now that they do it now.
No more
Yeah, I mean, they can get off of Jawaan Taylor's contract at the end of this season. So it's not like you're stuck with him for a few more years. So, God, if we move off him now, what does that mean for the future?
It's a wash. The money's a wash now.
Yep. So I agree. They need to move on. Just get Jalen Moore in there, see what he's got, because Patrick Mahomes already got to do it all by himself. And then he does it. And then he's got to walk back and close his eyes and shake his head like, I finally did it. I got us a first down, and now this guy's killing us again. Like, what do you want me to do out here?
Look, there's whispers, okay? You saw Kelsey getting on him week 1. It was week 1 Kelsey got on him, okay? Look, when Patrick starts to say something, and Patrick normally protects his guys, especially the O-lineman, he protects everybody.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Kingdom, there was a part, and I think he was talking about at the time 64. I think he was talking about Wanye Morris. He's doing the same move. I don't know if you all remember that in the Kingdom.
Yep,
it was against the Raiders. But when Patrick, when he starts to show that and he starts to say something, it's on then. He'll come off then. It's one thing for Kelsey to say it, but if Mahomes calls you out and says, look, we got to get him off the field, it's all bets are off at that point. So I think Jawaan Taylor's skating on really, really thin ice right now because the rumblings are starting to leak out to the media. When Nagy says that, when Kelsey shows that, and Andy's going to protect his guys too. Andy doesn't want to, throw his guys under the bus either. But man, it comes a point to where you're literally costing us points on the field, and everybody can see it. When the fans start to heat up, that's when I think they'll make a little noise with that.
Yeah, and points are hard to come by for this offense right now. We can't be giving them away, Jawaan.
All right, Noah, do the Chiefs have a Harrison Butker problem? He's missed 4 kicks through 3 games and 2 extra points. I know last week you spoke, or not last week, you spoke to him at the Super Bowl last year about the surgery that he had last season. So maybe you can provide some insight here.
Yeah, we did. We talked to him opening night. I asked him specifically about that surgery and some of the missed kicks he was having, and some of the corrections he was making in his stance and going down to a left knee. It looked like a weird operation, but he said that's what he found that worked. What's not working at the beginning of this season, let's just hear what he said at Super Bowl opening night.
Yeah, I think whenever you have an injury, your body physically, doesn't necessarily perform or do the things that you want it to. And I think because of that, I had to focus on some different things for every kick. So I know, okay, even though I'm mentally doing the same thing that I did pre-injury, there's these bad kind of misfires going on. So what can I mentally focus on post-injury to help, negate those kind of misfires? But, kicking is so much mental, and the difference between a kick right down the middle and a misfire is not very much. So sometimes you can't be too hard on yourself, and as a kicker, you have to have a short memory and be able to move on. Otherwise, you would just be paralyzed by all of the past kicks that you miss. You got to be able to move on.
So is he moving on, or has the mental game become something for him where he's kind of questioning his kind of lead up to it going down? Is my operation right? Or I don't know what to make of this and what's going on, and if he can get it corrected, if it's something mental, if it's something in practice that he can work on, a new routine. I don't know, but we do have a Harrison Butker problem.
Well, to be fair, one of the extra points was 49 yards after the Kareem Hunt throat slash penalty, which we probably should have asked Dean Blandino about, because that's still something that kind of sticks in my craw from last night. Because I think Kareem was doing a little, little Superman, little rip of the shirt there, not a throat slash. That's just another topic for another day. But the butt kicker is a problem. But I will say, if you have to have it, I still say, if you have to have it, the best gotta have it kicker I've ever seen, and I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer, guys, is I'm still taking Harrison if it's a gotta have it moment. That's just me. Is there a problem? Can 2 things be right at once? Yes. I'm concerned. I'm scared. We've said it's going to cost us a game for years when he was having missed extra point problems, but it really hasn't directly as of yet. But Brian, is that coming?
Did it not kind of cost us week 1?
Yeah, I mean, just like directly, like, oh, missed field goal to win it, but yes, like,
well, if he makes the extra point, we're down 8,
yes,
instead of 9 at that point. To me, so I mean, I think the magical prime of Harrison Butker is probably coming to a close now.
Fair.
This is 9th year, right? He was in 17.
Mm-hmm.
That was we got him from the Panthers practice squad in 17.
He's 30.
So this is, I mean, look, you seen these new age kickers?
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought up, you was like, oh no, 49-yard. Like, I'm not giving them no slack for a 49-yard extra point. I'm not when Brandon Aubrey's out here kicking 60-some yard field goals like they're 90s extra points. Into his fault, the bar has been raised. Remember, before this new line of kickers, Butker was a part of a new line of kickers in his era, coming in and making 50+ yarders at nauseum. True. And so now I think he's being a victim to his own success now. The bar's up here, Butker, not right here. Right now you're right here, but the bar's up here. So I feel like we're used to Butker making almost every single kick, almost every single extra point. But now it's like it's kind of getting out of hand when it's becoming weekly. It's a weekly occurrence now. And look, didn't bring in a kicker in the offseason to compete with him in preseason?
Yeah, I don't know how serious that was, but
I mean, look, they see what we see, and look, there's going to come.
I think Brian's frozen.
Is he? Yeah. Well, I was just going to add on to that and just like, okay, he's a got to have it kicker. You trust him there. But the problem is that we got to have all of them. We got to have every single kick, every single point we can get our hands on. We're scratching, clawing, fighting to get these wins. If he's got to have a kicker, we need every extra point, every field goal, every distance. We need it all. Just like Jawaan Taylor can't cost us points, we can't have Harrison Butker costing us points.
All right.
Which is fair.
Clint, you want to talk about the Ravens paying a visit to the Chiefs this Sunday? Obviously, we'll see how they fare against the Lions on Monday Night Football tonight. But do you view this as a chance to reset the season a little bit?
I do. I do need to see. I feel like it's making a prediction for this game seems a little preemptive. We're going to do it anyway on this show here coming up. But it's like I got to see the Ravens against the Lions tonight. I really need to see where they're at. We know what that running game, but we also know that the Chiefs defense really, the way they stepped up and played here, really the last couple of weeks, they held Saquon under 100 yards. The Chiefs did a really good job, especially the secondary, which was really maligned coming off that Chargers game week 1 in Brazil. But this Ravens game is a chance to reset the season and the expectations because, guys, don't look now. But it would be shocking if the Chargers don't win this division. Shocking. Look at the schedules. They've already beaten 3 AFC West opponents. Bam, bam, bam. They're 3-0 in the division. Their schedule is absolute. Like, think about it. Where we're going to play the Lions and we're going to play the Ravens. And, we're going to play the Bills. They're playing the Dolphins. They're playing what? The Vikings. And whoever else from the north, the Steelers.
Okay, so what's the worst that can happen? Huh? We go to LA and beat them in the playoffs. Whoop-de-doo. They have no home field advantage.
No.
Matter of fact, that's our home field advantage when we go to LA. There are more Chiefs fans in LA than there are Chargers fans. So look, like you said, they're going to be hard to catch. They are 3-0 in the division, 3-0 in the conference. Look, it is what it is. It's fine. But my thing is that I saw the Chargers schedule and I see some losable games there. I'm not all the way sold that this thing is done by week 3. No way in hell. Not with this team, because they have to see us again. That's number one. Number two, they got to see Denver again. And I'm just not sold that the Chargers are good. But I'm not sold that they're great yet. But the worst is what? We get the 5 seed, or we get the 7 seed or whatever, and we got to go to LA. Sign me up. I would rather go there than Buffalo. I would rather go there than Baltimore. Sign me up if they get the number 1 seed. I'm not worried about that at all.
That's fair.
I know I would love to win this division again. I'd love to make it 10 in a row, but I just don't see how that's going to be possible. With the Chargers schedule, they've got like the Commanders, the Colts. Maybe that's a law. The Steelers.
Do you have it on deck? Do you have that graphic? Their schedule?
I don't have it. But
okay.
I just know that they've got us. They got the Broncos, obviously. The Commanders.
They got to play Buffalo. They got to play Baltimore. I think they have to play both.
And the Dolphins.
They play the Dolphins instead of the Bills. That's where I think.
Yeah.
Control because.
And I might be the biggest non-believer in the Chargers. I don't even know if they're good, Brian. I don't like. I guess good.
They're good. They're good. They're good.
I don't even think they're good. Like above average. They can be 3-0 all they want. We played horrendous. I'm not a believer in them whatsoever, especially when the playoffs. If we get to,
what makes you not believe in them right now? I'm curious.
I've never believed in Justin Herbert ever since he came out of college. He had big games in college. Go back, Oregon, Arizona State. They should have walked over him, and he's throwing picks left and right.
You don't think Harbaugh's made him better?
Those 4 picks. What?
You don't think Harbaugh's made him better this year? Because I see a difference. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I don't see a difference. I see a guy with a good arm. He's got some weapons. He didn't play well to me against the Broncos. Bo Nix threw the game away.
And how good would he be without Quentin Johnston and Ladd McConkey at the same time right now?
I don't know, fellas. I think you all are discounting the Chargers a little bit. I thought I was discounting them, but you two are the double discounts.
I think they're going to win the division. They might win the division just because of their schedule, but I still don't think they're good. And I pray that we get to play them in the playoffs. Just please give me the Chargers in the playoffs.
Milena, before we go to predictions, I have a question for you, Milena.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
You were on the sidelines in the heart of like the hunger of Chiefs Kingdom in the 90s. You're a cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs when this is at its apex, when Chiefs Kingdom is just like every game is just an event and it's sold out, and the noise and I mean everything that we grew up on, the importance of Chiefs Kingdom. You helped build that. When you see that now, how do you feel like the culture back then, before the big winning kind of occurred, versus now? I know you're not on the sidelines. You're not a cheerleader anymore. You still could be, by the way. But do you feel like that the culture and the hunger was there, and it was just a bigger like occasion, versus now that we're kind of spoiled a little bit with the 3 Super Bowls?
We're so spoiled with the Super Bowls. I think there was a lot of heart back in the 90s. I think that people were excited to go. It was a family affair, and I don't think people can afford to go anymore. You can't just take a family of 5, to a game. It's got to be a choice. It's like, okay, dad's going, brother-in-law's going, and all y'all got to stay home. So I think that definitely the culture has changed. The excitement hasn't dropped at all. I think we picked up a lot of fair weather fans. When the team's winning, they're kind of identifying with this team. It wasn't like that in the 90s. It was like you loved him because you loved him, and that was your team. And I think many of us would agree that you could go there, have a full family barbecue, go in and have a really good time. Maybe they won, maybe they didn't, but it didn't take away the love. Now we've got these spoiled fans who spend $10,000 to take their family if they can go. And if they don't win, they don't identify with the team anymore. And if they do, then they're on the bandwagon until they lose again. It's really crazy.
Yeah, that's a good perspective, because you were on the sidelines for more. You were in the stadium for more games than any of us during that time. So
I was for 9 straight seasons, and I interviewed the fans before every game. And as drunk as they were, I mean, they had to stumble into the stadium, and they loved it, whether they were throwing up or they were sober.
But I kind of miss that hunger in a way. Like, no, it's one thing to get to the top, but to stay there, it's a harder thing. But as a kid in the 90s, especially when you're a kid, and like, to me, I thought, Willie Davis and J.J. Burden might as well have been, Andre Rison and Michael Irvin. Like, that's how big and important and impactful. Right. Or I was going to say Jerry Rice, but that was back before he tried to kill us. But that's how I looked at these guys. I looked at Dan Seliamua like a superhero.
Christian Okoye or like a Derek Thomas and those guys. I mean, it was great. They were great. Duron Cherry.
And that's part of just a childhood lore. And like, we were hungry. We hadn't won yet. And it all, I think, equaled like this impeccable just childhood that Brian and Noah and I all had. And then you were on the sidelines. You were, obviously in your teens by then. We were like, 11, 12.
Yep. No, I mean, it was very, all the ladies that now they love, Travis Kelce and the whole Taylor Swift thing, but they all love Tony Gonzalez back in the day, right?
Were you one of
the big celebrity in Kansas City? What?
Were you a Tony? There was always rumors that you and Tony dated.
There were? No, Tony and I never dated. He was my friend. He dated a couple of my friends. Like, I went to his 30th birthday party in LA and stuff, but he never dated.
Yeah. I just, you just hear things through grapevines.
I've never dated Tony. I've never dated a football player, professional. I dated a college football player, but not a professional football player.
You all hit on something very interesting with the bandwagon fans, though, that I'm going to be talking about in Brian's world this week, is that when you first saw Sunday Night Football and they were showing the shots of the stands and they were talking about how many Chiefs fans were there, guys, the Chiefs are a blue blood franchise now. And because whenever you win 4 Super Bowls, you're up there with the Giants, the Packers, the Steelers, now the Patriots, Niners, Cowboys, Raiders. The Chiefs are in that mix now for teams that travel very well. Like, we took over half the stadium in New York.
All that.
Really? But this is just a whole thing with Clark Hunt and trying to be the world's team. And this is just a part of it. But like you said, I didn't even point that out or notice that. But yeah, it's the same when you get bigger, you're gonna have those bandwagon fans. And how, Clint, you're talking about the hungry, starving fan from Independence or 40 Highway, Sugar Creek, Raytown, and that they really can't afford to go to the game. Like, it was a little more affordable in the 90s, but now you can forget about it now. You could probably get some free tickets from somebody back then. Now Ain't no way. So there is kind of like a wine and cheese factor a
Mm.
little bit at GEHA Field now.
The
Now
culture
that the
is
Chiefs,
different.
yeah, it look, when you have success, worldwide success, sustained success like the Chiefs have, it's only natural that you're going to get the bandwagoners to jump on.
Very good points, all.
With that, do you guys want to do predictions?
Oh boy.
Oh, let's do it.
Who wants to start? Noah, let's start with you. You look like you're smiling.
Oh, will we be smiling after my prediction? When the Chiefs played the Ravens in the playoffs, I said I didn't have any football things for you to deliver, any football knowledge to drop on you as to why I was picking the Chiefs. I just said Mahomes is inevitable. But this is a different season. We're here in 2025, and I'm no stranger to picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. I picked the Eagles in week 2. And I kind of talked to Clint earlier, and I was leaning towards the Ravens, but I got to go back to my playoff take. I don't have any football knowledge to drop on you as to why I'm picking the Chiefs, but I can't go 1-3. I cannot fall back there. I cannot have the Chiefs in the AFC West at the bottom at 1-3. So I'm just going to say Mahomes is inevitable. He figures it out at home. By hook or by crook, Xavier Worthy's back. We figure out a way to beat the Ravens 27-23. Chiefs win.
Clint?
Hey, I'll tell you this. I've spent the last week ready to pick the Ravens, almost excited to do it because I've been just kind of down on the way we've played and some of the circumstances that have gone against us. But I'll tell you this, you can't ignore 5-1 that Patrick Mahomes is against the Baltimore Ravens. You cannot ignore that. I think we went to Baltimore in 2024 in the playoffs as a team did we really have any business going in there and winning that team? A lot of people said that was the best NFL team they'd ever seen, that Ravens team. And the Chiefs went into Baltimore and won that. This Chiefs team knows that this is a chance to reset the season, to get to 500. And I like the Chiefs here. And I like it by the slimmest of margins, 23-20. Chiefs win it and get to 2-2.
I have 24-21. Chiefs win it.
We're all, let's go. Keep it rolling.
I'm with you tonight, Clint. Brian, what's going on?
Oh, it's going to be a barn burner, baby. Chiefs are opening up as 2.5-point dogs at home. Look, bet Chiefs. Take the Chiefs in the points. The Chiefs walk out of Arrowhead 2-2 with a 27-26 victory over the Baltimore football Ravens.
I mean, that's it.
Sweet.
I like that. I think that I think that's going to be, I think this is the biggest game of the year right here. I think when you think about playoff seeding, when you think about trying to stay in this division race, you think about the Ravens losing week 1 the way they did to the Bills and how this is going to be a jumbled mess.
Don't need another AFC loss on our hands. That's for damn sure.
No, sir.
I really be getting in. When I put the middle finger up or I put the singular finger up, I really get into it.
He doesn't mean number 1. He means
That's it. Guys, what a show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Arrowhead Allies, guys, we're off to, the Chiefs might be off to a 1-2 start, but we're off to a 4-0 start here on Arrowhead Allies. We think about the guests from Tim Grunhard to Frank Bowl, this week with Dean Blandino, last week with Trey Wingo. It's just on fire right here to have Brian be shining back in the fold. It makes me want to cry every single time we do it. And Melena's
the Wolfpack shirt.
Look at this. And this Wolfpack is like really unlike the Chiefs offensive line. And Melena, Scantlin Barrett, for you to be a part of this, for you to lead us, to lead these horses to water. You can't make us drink, but you do a damn good job of it.
You're sweet. Thanks.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of Arrowhead Allies. We'll see you next week.
We'll see what the Ravens have to offer against the Lions tonight on Monday Night Football. Until then, until next time, go
Chiefs!